So, Tom, what is your second topic?
All right, let's keep this to home base in the YouTube world. We are going to touch on the Pewdiepie controversy.
Okay.
But I'm going to pose this a little bit differently because I don't want to get into...
Let's specify which one.
Well...
The most recent one.
Yeah,
I'm just saying he had a lot of controversies.
So, basically, I'll preface what happened. So, Pewdiepie is the most successful YouTuber of all time, has the most subscribers of all time, and he was
Tenfold.
And he was playing PUBG, game that you like.
Hey, PUBG.
And basically, he was
PUBG?
live streaming on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was shooting somebody, whatever, drops the N-word, hard R, and called this person that in a very aggressive manner.
Because the context is important.
Yeah, the context was basically he was shooting at someone, it didn't go his way, drops the N-bomb, and it was definitely in an aggressive manner, and immediately goes, "Oh shit! Oh, you asshole! Oh."
So he just doubled down on his terrible decision.
Yeah, and then it was like, "Oh shit! I didn't mean it like that. Oh no, but shit, that asshole."
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a drops it and then continues on and tries to make up for it in some weird fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: I don't want to get into the use of that word at all because. To be honest, we're two white dudes.
Yeah.
And I just don't really think that our opinion fucking matters.
Right.
No offense.
No. Absolutely.
But I more am curious about, okay, this happens. He posts an apology video. First off, what was your reaction? Because have you seen the video?
Because he was like on the bridge or something, and he was shooting at someone that I think it was like some lag that happened, and then obviously he dropped it. And so I think I've seen a clip of it, but not like the full entirety of the video.
And have you seen the apology video?
Yes, I did watch that.
So first off, what was your reaction to when he dropped it, what he said, and then what were your thoughts? What was going through your head, and then what was your thoughts to his response?
Because my thing is that, and this is kind of a point that's been brought up before, but my thing is that if he talked about the heat of the moment type thing, and that's a big like detail in terms of his explanation for doing this. The heat of the moment thing in games, I get with certain curse words that you might want to say when you get shot and when you think you're somebody that you should have killed someone or whatever game you're playing. Because God knows I've played FIFA and Call of Duty that I've dropped some curse words.
Yeah.
Obviously never that.
Yeah.
But his idea of in the heat of the moment type thing, and it's like, okay, if your heat of the moment reaction is to say that, and let alone say that to the point where it's like, oh, sorry, I just meant that he's an asshole. So it's like, okay, your heat of the moment response is to say that, and then you make it synonymous with asshole. So it's like, okay, if this is your heat of the moment reaction, then how am I to say that your normal verbiage and this word being in your normal vocabulary is not a possibility, because people that do things in the heat of the moment do things out of instinct, out of things that they just feel natural without even having to think. So if this is one of his reactions to something that he does without even thinking or without even generating like an explanation for his own reaction, then it's easy to say that this is part of his normal everyday vocabulary.
Right. And so what do you think of his apology?
I think that, is no matter what you want to think of PewDiePie, and it's an absolutely shitty thing that he did, his apology is the best thing that he could have done.
Because I was going to say, when you think about apologies for a controversy, no matter what it is, you look for certain elements, whatever. You can look down the long laundry list of people who have done things that are controversial in the media, and then they make an apology, and you're like, that was pretty half-assed, or it was scripted. It seemed pretty raw, pretty sincere, which is definitely a new tone. But he doesn't, basically, if you haven't seen the apology video, explains the situation, and he says this was a heat of the moment thing, but he also says that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it an excuse. I'm just a dumbass, and I made a stupid mistake.
And that was my favorite part of his apology.
And I was like, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can't justify it. You can't come up with an excuse because you don't know what it's like to be the recipient of that. And he recognized that, and he just said, okay, I'll move on. But problem I have with this apology video is a day later, he's back streaming, and he almost drops it again. And I'll give you context. Basically, he got something that was good for him in the game, and he dropped it again in, I guess, like not in like a asshole way, but just like a.
We didn't actually. He almost did.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I said. Was
Okay.
he almost dropped it again?
Okay.
And so he almost does it, and then immediately goes, "Oh shit! I almost dropped. I almost said it again. Only a day later. It's like I didn't even learn my lesson." And I'm sitting there like,
it's almost like he's joking about it.
Was your apology video sincere? Because
Yeah.
clearly I don't understand how that happens. Like if it's a heat of the moment thing, sure you can make that argument when it happens once in your life.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you're that casual with it, I doubt that was the first time. And guess what? You almost said it again the very next day.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
And anything heat of the moment is all about instinct.
Yeah.
Like it's all about heat of the moment is literally defined
Yeah.
as doing something that you don't think about, that you
Yeah.
react to something happening. And if that's, and let alone if he's dropping it the next day, and if he has to correct himself, I mean, 'cause you could make an argument that it's an even more so in reinforcement that it's part of his normal vocabulary, that if he's catching himself, because it's to the point where he's catching himself and he's like, whoa, why did I even do that? It's like, why do you even do that? Because it's like, it's a part of you.
Right.
So it's like, and am I saying that PewDiePie is just a super intense racist or a fascist or whatever? Like, because the previous controversy, just a quick anecdote if you don't know, he released some videos that were in comedic fashion that were displaying like anti-Semitic images or imagery, and then some anti-Semitic jokes. But that was, I mean, that's probably another topic for another day. But I mean, it was just a simple fact of that's more so to do with comedy and making jokes about certain stuff, because I have a personal opinion that everything and anything should be subject that a comedian can make jokes about it, because it's just as simple as that. It's a joke. But if it's something that is like this I don't consider to be a joke.
Well, and I mean, he never meant it. He never even said, "Oh, this is like comedic
Yeah,
fashion," or anything.
right.
So, and yeah, I get when people, and again, this can easily go a billion different directions. So I'll kind of try and keep this down the main line. I think he did something that was fucking stupid and horrible. He made a good apology video, the best he could, and then he messes up again. And when the Wall Street Journal stuff was happening, I was like, this seems like a big overreaction. People are, because his point was, people take his stuff out of context, and then they took what he was saying out of context and posted it.
Yeah.
So they did exactly what he was accusing them of doing, which was hysterical. But this is, like you said, this is totally different. He made a huge mistake, but the problem is, this does look really bad for YouTube.
Yeah.
As YouTubers in general, because it just shows that level of amateurism as opposed to something that's a main news media outlet, like the ones that were trying to hunt him down.
Yeah.
So I think other YouTubers brought it up, but it's just it's one of those things where you're just so fucking disappointed, because you're like, come on, man, how hard is it to not mess up like that?
Yeah, because it's
It's
pretty easy for me to not do that.
It's pretty easy for 99.9% of the planet to not do something that stupid, and you did it.
Let alone if you're knowing you're streaming to millions of people.
And the thing is, I have no problem with a creator saying you can't stream with us anymore. You can't. We don't want you a part of our game, because there is a problem in the gaming community when it comes to communication. Like the things that people say over Xbox Live, if anyone's a gamer, it gets pretty graphic.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I'm not going to play Saint or anything like that. I mean, obviously, FIFA moments where you break a controller are just, I mean, they might as well include a controller in the game.
Yeah.
With the game.
Or a makeshift controller that you can just break.
You could just shatter. I get that completely, but there's just that line where it's like, dude, you're in your 30s. You're the most successful YouTuber ever. How can this happen? And like you said, it's like, well, I mean, if you said it before, say it again.
Yeah. And another part of this story is because you mentioned the businesses allowing him to stream their games. One of the biggest stories that came as a result of this was, I don't know if you know a game, I've never played it, but I've heard good things about it, a game called Firewatch. The head developer of the game Firewatch released this huge article talking about how he demanded that PewDiePie, because PewDiePie played through the whole game, and it was part of like his playthrough videos on his YouTube channel.
And he had I think it had 4.6 million views at the time that he wrote this letter, and now it has more.
Yeah, I mean, it was a while ago. It wasn't close to when PewDiePie said this.
Right.
But the story is that this developer wanted PewDiePie to take all of his videos down and never wanted him to stream his video games again. And then you can get into a conversation where, okay, does PewDiePie have the right to stream that game even though the developer doesn't want him to? But you get into the copyright thing. It doesn't violate a copyright rule because he's not using their likeness to make money, but it involves
He's
a
almost
copyright.
promoting it.
Yeah, it involves copyright to the point where if they determine that they don't want someone to use their game, especially when it's streaming it and making videos and making money off of it, then as a business, they have every right to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make a case for a business saying we don't want you to stream our stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple. Because you got to think that if people were streaming it for something for more like graphic or obscene reasons, in the sense that if someone was streaming a game and something crazy was going on in the background and they didn't want any part of it, they could easily just say, no, we don't want that. And everyone would oblige. So I mean, if you're a business and you don't want someone like that streaming your games, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally like support the dude's the head developer of the Firewatch games decision to do that.
The only thing that we get into, and again, there's another YouTuber that I love. One of my favorite channels. I've always said that it's probably the best YouTube channel on YouTube is H3H3 Productions, and Ethan made commentary about this whole thing on his podcast, and he brought up interesting points, and the things that he was saying, whether you agree with him or not, are another thing. But when he calls PewDiePie out for being that loose with that term, he has said it on his podcast before.
Yeah.
And in a possibly more derogatory way. And he's basically saying, oh, it's the context. But at some point,
there is no context.
I'm going to put context aside and say, if your argument is, okay, he was way too loose with that word, so were you.
The only context that works is if you're in a middle school class and you're reading one of those old books. Because there's always that one of those situations where you ever had those read-alongs with...
I don't think so.
Really, I've had in 8th grade English, we had a book, I think it was Huckleberry Finn.
Oh,
and we would have read-alongs in class where people would volunteer to read. And there was the N-word in that book, and then people would say it out loud in the read-along. So it's like, I mean, that is the only context that I would see fathomable. I mean, because when you use words like that, like you said, they're just, you put context aside because... in any situation aside from just a very minuscule amount.
And again, it just comes to the fact of I just don't see how it's that hard.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
just not do it.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I don't really get it. But again, it's just this looks bad on YouTube, like for the YouTube community, because it's just the Wall Street Journal comes after you, you slap back, and everyone pretty much agrees, and they kind of have to tuck their tail between their legs a little bit and say, that was probably a bad idea. We probably shouldn't have gone after him.
Yeah.
He's getting way more attention than we are. And then all of a sudden, you just feed directly into the narrative that they wanted to create for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good point. And you might think to yourself, why are people even talking about this? Why would anybody talk about a dude that just streams video games?
Who's from Sweden.
Yeah, who says this? So obviously, of the opinion of the word, you think he's a piece of shit for saying it. Why would we talk about it? But it's the simple fact of this dude has created a multi-million-dollar business through his likeness.
Oh yeah,
through his likeness alone, to the point where he is. You mentioned he's the most subscriber on YouTube, and it's not even close.
No,
like,
yeah.
I don't even know. Like, isn't Smosh Games like in the lower double digits, like 12 million or something like that?
I think they have more now. I mean, like KSI has 19 mil.
Okay.
WS2 has like 18 mil. Like, people are starting to eclipse. I think Smosh it broke 20.
But I don't even think there's someone that's half of his.
No, I think Smosh broke it.
Over half?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But still, I mean, regardless, we're talking about half the number of subscribers that he has.
Yeah.
He has 57 million.
And he has been there for a while.
Yeah, and he's made multi-million dollars a year. So you've got to think about, okay, why would we even talk about this? But you want to talk about, so many people are veering towards...
Smosh has 22 million. So he's not quite at half yet.
Yeah, exactly. And that's number 2, right? And they're number 2, right?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Because someone might have passed. There's some people that have a shit ton that I didn't even know.
Okay.
But
like I was saying, there comes a time where YouTube might take over cable news, because we talk about cable and regular TV being a thing of the past. Yeah, exactly. You have people that have gigantic followings that are starting to create their own type of news, and you have these YouTube channels with these millions and millions of subscribers that millions of views like in a day or two, and you want to talk about the ratings or the numbers that people that watch like Fox News and CNN. And the majority of the people that watch those are the older generation. So you want to talk about when our generation comes through and becomes that generation? Shit, we could be talking about cable news and TV news being absolutely extinct, and to the point where we get 100% of our news from YouTube.
Well, and I was listening to Joe Rogan, and I mean, just to put this in context, when Pewdiepie said this, he had, I think, like 4.2 million people streaming what he said.
Or you watching him, his stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have 4.2 million people watching you at a given time, when was the last time that CNN, Fox, CNBC, anything had 4.2 million people watching their content at the exact same time? It's very rare.
Yeah.
If you look at all the data, because they provide it obviously for free, well, on the internet, you can just look it up. It doesn't happen that often. And if they were to post a video on YouTube or something and it gets 1 million hits, that's viral for them.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
For Pewdiepie, back in the day,
4.5 million like a day.
Well, not anymore, because now his viewership's kind of declined.
Oh,
but
really?
in his heyday, I mean, he has videos that are smashing 50 million views.
Yeah.
50 million views. You're talking about to the point where you're getting close to that 15-20% of the entire United States population, which again, I know he has like viewers worldwide, but just to put it in our context, that's nuts that 1 in 5 people would have saw his videos of him playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
And then he does something like this. That's why it matters, because like you said, the younger generation follows him through and through. They get older and all of a sudden they see this, and it's like, he has 57 million subs for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That is not an accident. That's not a coincidence. And nobody has even come close to challenging him for it. If you mess up that bad and you're like the face of an organization, yikes.
Yeah.
That does not bode well.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And it's like, it just goes back to the fact that it's a shitty thing, but you got to talk about it because of how big of a name he is and how much he means to the platform that we're on.
Right, exactly. I mean, obviously, we aren't huge or anything like that, but everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's our 2 cents. But I mean, again, he almost said it again.
Yeah.
That's just...
And it just goes back to the point where if you almost say it again, let alone if your excuse is the heat of the moment, it's a part of your vocabulary. And you're not going to be able to convince me otherwise.
Well, and are you going to say it's heat of the moment again?
Yeah.
Because at some point, you're going to run out of heat of the moments.
Yeah, exactly. When you're playing a video game.
Right. Nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we said before, I swear and curse at FIFA and Call of Duty, but it's not like to the extent of where you would just get that pissed. But then again, we talk about what would it take for us to say that, which literally would be nothing because we never would. But if it's just rolls off his tongue that easily to the point where he can say it in the heat of the moment while playing PUBG, I mean, Jesus.
It's kind of one of those. It's a good point because it's just like, you watch someone the way they say it, and if they're like squirming and uncomfortable, don't really know the situation, then it's more believable of, oh yeah, that's a heat of the moment thing. But if it just boop, done.
Yeah, and then let alone right after you say, oh, I just meant asshole. It's like, oh, okay. That makes it so much better.
Yeah, no kidding.
That you meant that with synonymous with asshole.
Yeah.
That's
obviously
genius.
This wasn't the most fun of topics, but it literally, like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
If you're making YouTube videos, we did Jake Paul for the exact same reason.
I mean, plus gaming too, because he was wild gaming, so it's gaming, like, because we're involved in that type of genre of news.
It sucked. It did. And again, it's not like personal shade and slant towards him. It kind of is, though.
I mean, because like we said before, with
it's not like we're personally attacking him in the sense that we're portraying him a certain way. We're just stating what he did, and that
we're not making this up.
Yeah. So it was more just a topic about, here's the biggest face of our community, not our community, like the thing
platform.
The platform that we use, and something that messed up happens.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it was all over the news, not even just YouTube people, but mainstream, everything, ABC, NBC, the whole shebang.
And we talked about this. The last thing I'll put on this topic is, you want to talk about your stomach falls into your ankles moment. Because whether you are comfortable using that word or not, you talk about streaming to 4.2 million people, and knowing that they are attentively watching with headphones in, listening to the sound and everything. Yeah, exactly.
Because people rip that shit all the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even if he did nothing, they would record it and hope to find something. But you want to talk about that just mutters from your mouth and you just think, holy shit, there's literally no way I can change that, go back on that, or anything. So it's definitely a crazy situation. If you want to let us know what you think about the PewDiePie situation, or if you just want to think how it impacts YouTube as a platform in general, as always, let us know in the comment section below, or go to patreon.com/TJENT, where you can donate $1, $2, $5, or $10 and get your post on the wall, and we'll talk about your reaction to PewDiePie's gigantic fuck up on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Real Talk episode 10. We are officially in the double digits. Every single weekday at noon Eastern time here on youtube.com/TJENT, Tom and I bring 2 random topics of discussion to the table for your entertainment, while most importantly keeping it real. And we mean real. This is pretty serious topics this week.
Yeah.
But I like it. Hey, you like to have fun. You like to be real sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy what we do, head over to patreon.com/TJENT. Donate $1, $2, $5, or $10. Get these dope stickers. Some other benefits as well. Suggest a topic if you donate at $5, which would also be fun because we love to get different topics and want to know what you want us to talk about. And if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, that's all right. It's all good in the hood. You can go to iTunes or soundcloud.com/TJENT if you want to give us a subscribe or review on iTunes. That would be fantastic. Get us into more eyes and ears, and that is always important because we want to spread our content as much as possible, because if you like us, probably think a lot more people would too.
I hope.
So if you don't know,
now you know.
And I got it right this time.
Hey.
Thanks for joining, everybody. This has been Real Talk with Tom and Joey, episode 10, and we will see you on Monday with another episode of Straight Gaming.
Peace out, everybody.
We'll see you then. Peace.